Hi, this is Rich Lavens of Eurotherm by Watlow, and today we are going to cold start a Eurotherm 3200 series. This happens to be a 3216. So a cold start is something we might use if somebody had been in there pushing buttons. You don't know where it was left. It's just not operating right. So a cold start or a factory reset, whatever you want to call it, will set this back up to the factory defaults. So the thing to be aware of is if you will need to have your configuration file backed up, because this is going to wipe everything out and start from scratch. So anyway, we have our page, enter, down and up arrows. So we're going to hold this page key down, and we're going to keep holding it until it says level 3, and then we're going to quickly up arrow. When it asks for config, by default anyway, the config code is 4. We are now in config. So we're going to toggle the page key until we get to the access menu. Access. Then we're going to hit the enter key, and we're going to toggle that enter key until we get down to cold start. And it says no, we want a cold start it. So we're going to say yes, and we're going to hit enter. Then we can finish going through there. So after that's entered, we're going to hold the page key back down, and we are going to go to level 1, and it'll reset. And you can see it comes back up like it was fresh out of the box. So now we have our quick code being prompted, so we can go through and fill out the quick code. There's another video on that. I'm going to pop over to iTools and show you that. It's probably a bit easier. So let's do that right now. So we're at my PC now. I have connected the 3216 up to my laptop using the CPI clip, or otherwise called the configuration cable. When you are connected to that cable, please make sure you disconnect the normal power supply from your instrument. This is because the USB port on your laptop will provide enough power to configure the instrument. And basically, we don't want them fighting each other. So we're going to go to iTools, which is a free download from the Eurotherm.com or Watlow.com website. We're going to find the iTools folder, and we're going to select iTools Engineering Studio. And once it's up here, there's a scan button right here. So we're going to click the scan button. And since we're connected with the configuration cable, we're going to select the 4th parameter here, hit OK. And it will go out and find the instrument. So you can see up here, I've got 2 little arrows. Until this is synchronized with the software, there's nothing we can do about it. When it's done synchronizing, which takes a few seconds, you will see a little representation of a controller, the communication port, and the instrument series. So it's now done synchronizing. So I'm going to come over here. Clicking this access button is the same as putting the controller into that configuration level. So we're going to click this, and it's going to give us a little warning. So now we're in configuration. This Parameter Explorer button here, if I click on the folders, it opens up the parameters for every folder. So again, your thermocouple type is here. We can go through and set that up. Tells you my I/O. It's a logic output. Anything in blue font is read only. Anything in black font is read write. So it's telling me I've got a logic output. That's what the hardware is. I can't change that. There are 2 ways to set this up. So if you're at the instrument, you're going to get prompted on the power cycle after reset to enter a quick code. So these quick codes can be done in the quick code folder or through the front, but basically it gives you 2 sets of information, quick set 1 and quick set 2. And if I click on there, there's a parameter help that will tell me about this. There's going to be a piece of paper folded up in the box this comes with that will explain those quick sets to you. But you can set up your thermocouple, you can set up the range, you can set up the I/O. So you can certainly do it that way. The other way that's a little bit more visual and easier to understand is there's a wizard here. So we're going to click on the wizard button. And that open on my other monitor. So the wizard actually prompts you through with a little bit more explanation to it. So you can see we're at the start. There's different tabs across the top. So we're going to hit next. And the first thing is the input tab. So what do you want this to look for? Well, I've got a type J, but I can have a K. I can have a bunch of different thermocouples, RTDs, millivolts. So you can pick what you want. You can set the display units, Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin, none, percentage. But basically, it prompts you to go through and set this up. So here's our display range, 0 to 1100. And you notice like down here, well, what's this input filter time constant? If you click here off to the right, there's a help menu that explains the parameter. So we're going to go to our set points. So in this case, although I was able to display 0 to 1100 degrees, maybe I don't want the operator to go above 800. So this is your set point limits. I'm going through this relatively quick, so I'm not going to touch on every parameter. Here, I've got this set up. Channel 1 is set up for PID. Channel 2 is set up for PID. Normally, channel 1 is heat. Channel 2 is cool. Here are proportional, integral, and derivative settings. When you auto-tune out at the process or when you manually tune, these are the parameters you're going to set to get good process control. We're going to hit next again. Here's where your alarms are set up. So I've got a high alarm as number 1 and a low alarm as number 2. There are some timer functions. Without going totally into it, we have a dwell timer. We have a delay timer. And we have a soft start timer. Those 3 timers are standard in the controller. There is an optional ramp soak programmer option, but I don't have it in this one. So I don't need the timer, so we're going to go next. And we'll move to IO1. So again, I've already set this up for logic output being heat. Second output is a relay for cooling. This third one here, AA, I don't have that enabled. This particular controller has a logic input that is set up for alarm acknowledge, but I can set that logic input up for many different functions. This particular unit has a current transformer input that I can set up to look at amperage coming back through a special current donut that we can provide you. This unit also has RS-480 comms enabled. Our standard display is process value on top, set point on the second line, but there's some options there. And again, the passcodes here, these are our factory defaults. If you change these and then forget them, well, there's not much I can do. Here's that cold start. It's a little bit different nomenclature here. It's called erase instrument memory, but that's the cold start we did on the instrument. We can customize messages. So when we have a broken sensor, it's going to read broken sensor, but we can change that to something more meaningful. Sensor broken, same thing. But again, you can customize the messages that an operator would see. Hit next. And we go into the promote tab. So the promote tab is kind of interesting. Let's go to that alarm threshold. So right now, this alarm threshold, an operator would not see that from level 1. He would only see it in level 2, and it's read only. But I can change that. So I can make him see that in level 1 or 2 as read only, or Level 1 and 2 as read-write. Now they could change that alarm threshold parameter. So again, you've got some flexibility as to what you show an operator and what access he has to that. So we're going to hit next. We're going to go to the recipe screen. The recipe screen sometimes gets misunderstood. Some people think that a recipe is how many profiles you have in a ramp soak controller, but in the 3200, recipes are unique configurations with the same hardware set. So I've got this set up so we could have recipe 1 as a heat cool controller. We could have recipe 2 as a heat only controller. We could have recipe 3 looking at a 4 to 20 milliamp input. So it's based on the same hardware. It doesn't change the hardware set, but you can get unique configurations. So you could have several configurations loaded and just select the right recipe for the application you're looking at that moment. And then finally, at the very end, we're going to get a summary. So we can click on the I/O. So click on 1A, 1B, and down here in the lower left, it says I'm a logic and I'm set up for heat. This relay is a relay set up for cooling. Here's my current transformer input. Here's my logic input that I have set up for alarm acknowledge. Here's my RS-480 COM slot. Up here, you'll see it's not enabled, so it reads none. And then lastly, down here in the lower right is our sensor input, and I'm set up for a J. So we're going to close this. So that instrument is now set up. The last thing you have to remember is, again, when you're in access, it's the same as being in the configuration level of that controller. Typically, we're going to get out of that. So we're going to toggle that access button. That will cause the instrument itself to reboot and go back to level 1. And in level 1, the operator, it's going to control the process. When you're in that access mode, again, the outputs are disabled as a safety. Hope you find this helpful. Thank you.